How much does a councillor get paid?
I think it's about 19,700 and something pounds. It's a part-time role.
What are you going to do with that money?
I'm going to spend it on burgers, doner kebabs, designer suits, a holiday to Turkey. You know, the usual sort of stuff.
Good. You know, you keep saying that you have a track record spanning over decades of stuff that you've done for the community. What have you done?
So, what have I done? I'll tell you what I've done. From the time I was a teenager in the 70s and the 80s, fighting against skinheads in Sparkhill Park, fighting against National Front and the far right, this has been where all this work started. From then on, it's always been working within the community, working with the youth, whether it's youth organizations, youth clubs. I have a whole track record. You know, the problem is that when I was doing this work, there was no cameras, there was no YouTube, and there was no social media. So now I can document the work that I did. But 30 years ago, there's no way of documenting it. The only people who know the work that I've done is people my age or people who were affected by the work that I've done. You know, I still today meet people who I helped 20 years ago, and they say to me, "Uncle, you don't remember me. Yeah, but I remember you. Yeah, you did X, Y, and Z. You said this to me, and alhamdulillah, it changed my whole life. I started praying. I started working out and looking after my health or whatever it was." And they come up to me and say that. But the problem is I can't document all of that. Now, obviously, we've got phones everywhere. We can make videos. But my work has been going on for the last 30 years, 25 odd years, 25 plus years.
You keep saying that a councillor shouldn't be picking up rubbish. What are they going to do?
There's lots of things they can do, you know, as a councillor. Instead of picking up rubbish, they can pick their nose, you know. Oh dear. Come on, look, at the end of the day, people are misunderstanding what I'm trying to say here. What I'm saying is that as a councillor, you have access to all of the resources of the council. Bring that to bear in your area. Get the people who are supposed to be cleaning the area to clean the area, and then make videos with them.
Okay, you say you're going to do a lot for the community. What if you don't win the local elections? Are you just going to go back to what you were doing before, or are you actually going to carry on, you know, trying to improve your community?
As I've said, I've been working in the community and doing work locally, nationally, and internationally for years, for decades. Yeah, that's going to continue. And I've said it. Look, you know, without sounding very sort of flippant about it, I don't really care if I win or if I win. Yeah, it's not in my hands. My job is just to put the effort in, and if I win, it's up to Allah. If he thinks that is good for me to win and good for the community, he'll give me victory. If not, no problem. But that doesn't mean that the work stops. I'm still going to be out there. In fact, I'm going to be out there even more than before, because now I've built up this whole platform. I've built up all of this kind of, you know, kudos in the community. I've been out there. I'm going to capitalize on that and still carry on doing the work that I'm doing. In fact, I'm going to be doing more work now, if I don't get elected, than I was before.
Are you bringing Sharia law into the UK?
So was that Sharon's law? No, I'm not bringing Sharon's law into the UK. I'm going to be following English law because I live in England, and in the council house, we follow English law, and that's the law that I'm going to be following.
Do you think you're hard?
In some capacity, yes, but in some ways, no.
All right, thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Guys, my name's Ateiq, and I am here with brother Shahid Butt, who all of you guys are familiar with. And I'm going to be picking Shahid's brains a bit today to make sure that those of us who are going to be voting in these coming elections on the 7th of May are able to make a proper informed decision on the best course of action to take when we do eventually cast our votes. So, Shahid, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
So, we've had a bit of a brief chat, inshallah, but if I can just go over some important questions which I feel as though that we've left out, inshallah, and if you could answer those, inshallah, hopefully, honestly, and in a way that is not only going to paint you to be the best vote for the candidate, but also inform the community in regards to what the plans are moving forward, inshallah. So, question number one is, why are you running as an independent candidate in this election?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. As I've said, multiple times, I never had any intentions of running in any kind of elections or anything, or any kind of public official capacity. I have had plenty of opportunities over the years, but I've not taken those up simply because, especially on the politics side, I have no faith in any of the political parties. And I think that's become quite apparent now with their support for the genocide in Palestine. So that's why I've never got involved. However, right now, especially in 2026, I believe, and it's been a culmination of events that have been happening over the years, that we are in a very, very critical time. I was approached by Shakil Afzal and Ahmed Yaqub from the Independent Candidate Alliance, which I was also a part of setting up initially as well. But they approached me and said, look, we would like you to stand. And to cut a long story short, they sort of, convinced me to stand. I wasn't sure of the whole independent candidate process. They then advised me, they gave me all the background, the information, and also they committed to support me because I didn't really know much about campaigning and all this sort of stuff. And, so that's why one of the reasons why I didn't really want to get into all of that. They said, look, if you stand, we will support you and we'll put our full weight behind you. And that's exactly what they did. And that's what they're doing. And that was the push factor that really got me involved. I've always been around politics, but I've never got involved in an official capacity. Now, to further answer that question, why have I got into this, into politics, or why am I standing? I believe that I am a good candidate. I believe that I have a track record in this community. I believe that I've been serving this community. I've been working in this community for decades, not just yesterday, but for decades I've been working here. A lot of the people know who I am. I've done a lot of work with the youth. I've done a lot of work within communities. And there's a lot of stuff that I've been doing. It's just that in my time, we didn't have cameras, we didn't make videos, we didn't take photographs. So not everything is out there like now. You have to document and put everything on video. I've been doing this stuff when no one even knew what a video was or what a camera was. So I have a whole track record. I believe that I have the integrity. I have the correct moral compass. I genuinely want to see change come into our city. Birmingham is my city. I grew up in Sparkhill. I have a lot of fun memories in Sparkhill. And when I look around at the city and all the other inner city areas, it's not the Birmingham that I knew from 30, 40 years ago. A lot has changed, some good, but a lot of bad as well. And I want to address that issue head on. And that's one of the main reasons why I'm standing.
My next question would be that many people in areas like Sparkhill have traditionally supported Labour Party. Why do you think some voters now feel let down, especially around issues like the Palestine and the wider social policies?
I mean, it's no secret that people have or do feel let down by Labour, and Labour has let down the community, especially the Asian Muslim community who have traditionally always voted for Labour. Their policies, not just only on Palestine, but even on their other policies as well, these are not of any benefit to the Muslim Asian community. So people are fed up with what they see. They've seen through them. And what Labour has traditionally done, they've relied on block voting in the sense of, from what we call the brotherly vote, or the family vote, and by bringing in certain individual people who command that kind of respect within the community, and then everybody just sort of following their lead. They've relied on that for decades, and that's how they've got into power in these areas. Now the system has changed in the sense of now we have a lot of young voters who don't fall into that category, who are born here, who understand the society, who have a stake in society and realize that whatever policies are made affects their future for them, for their kids and for their grandkids. So they're now getting more involved. So people are disillusioned with Labour. I mean, just the fact that Labour supported the genocide in Palestine is enough for them to abandon Labour. I mean, the rest of it is put it on the side. That is a major catastrophe that Labour did.
And how do you feel Labour has let down the community locally here in order for them to now be dissuaded to give their support to Labour?
Where do we start? Yeah, let's just list it down. 14 years Labour has run the local council with a majority. In those 14 years, if we look at the culmination of all of that today, we have Birmingham, which is people are saying, compare it to a third world country. We have roads falling to pieces. We have the bin strikes, as we know, everybody knows about that, and the whole, everything that went on with that. We've got fly tipping at all kinds of crazy levels. We've got antisocial behavior. We've got parking problems. We've got all kinds of things that are happening in Birmingham. Now, these are local issues which, in my opinion, can quite easily be dealt with if there's a proactive and a robust actions are taken. But why are these proactive and robust actions not taken? Why are these issues allowed to fester? Some will say, well, because Birmingham City Council doesn't have any money. Oh, well, okay, we know about that. Because Labour, 14 years of running the council, you bankrupted the council. Then how did you bankrupt the council? Well, for example, you built an athletes village in Perry Bar, which cost hundreds of millions of pounds. You didn't finish it on time. No athlete actually lived in there. And now you've sold it for 50 million pounds. How many houses could we have built with that money? How much accommodation we could have got? We could have dealt with people who are finding it difficult to have to live, to find properties. You instigated an article system, which was budgeted at 40 million pounds, something like that. Now it's actually costing over 100 million pounds, and it's still not fit for purpose. I can go on and on and on and on about all of these things. The issue is this: if this was a commercial business, I'm a businessman. I have a business, and I've run businesses in the past as well. If my staff or my manager is not performing properly and has lost me a contract, first and foremost, the loss of that money that comes in hits my pocket, and when it hits my pocket, I'm like, well, it needs to hit your pocket. Now, obviously, if it's a genuine issue or a mistake or whatever, we look. But if it's complete negligence, then these are grounds for that person to be fired. Why is it that in the council, when they just wasted 300 million pounds, 200 million pounds, why is nobody in the council getting fired? Why doesn't anybody lose their job? And here's another bit of food for thought. What if every time councillors and the people involved in these decisions that basically go wrong and we lose millions and millions of pounds, how about this as a suggestion? What about if those people involved had a 25% deduction from their wages? I know it's a drop in the ocean. It's not going to recuperate all the millions that I've lost, but let them feel it in their pocket. They don't feel it in their pocket. They still get paid the same way. Who feels it? Me and you, because our council tax goes up and we just keep on paying more and more. But they don't feel it in their pocket. Maybe if they felt it in their pocket, they'd make better decisions.
Thank you. So as I mentioned, many people, especially in the Sparkhill area, have historically voted Labour. And now they feel a bit politically homeless. They don't really know who to vote for. So those individuals, what advice would you give to them in these coming local elections?
We need to make a distinction here. There's a difference between national politics and local politics. There's a difference between an MP and a local councillor. A local councillor is only engaged in local issues. He has no say in national or international issues. The question is this, and I know why this has happened. Why does a councillor need to be a member of a party to do the work that he has to do on a local level, dealing with antisocial behaviour and fly tipping and doing surgeries with people? How does being a member of a party, a national party, give him any advantage in doing his local community work? It doesn't. If he was an MP, then I can understand there is some advantage of being part of a bigger of a party. But as a councillor, you don't need to be a member of a party. So people need to realise that you don't need to vote for a candidate who's in a party. When a person is in a party like Labour or any other party, he does not have free will. He has to do what the party tells him to do. So if the party has a policy, he has to apply that policy, even if that goes against his ward and his constituents and what they want. He has no choice. Why? Because they have like a party whip. Now what will happen is that if he goes against the grain, he won't get selected, he'll be deselected, he won't get promoted, because 99% of the people that are part of these parties are career politicians who want to grow, who want to become leaders, who want to get higher positions, higher salaries, bigger positions. So they have to toe the party line. They can't go against the grain. They can't put roadblocks in the way. They can't turn around and say, no, the people that voted for me want this, and that's what I'm going to do. They can't do that. And I think you were telling me earlier as well that you've approached other, candidates, and you've asked them for an interview, and they've replied back to you that I need to get clearance from the party. So that just proves my point.
Yeah, that is correct. Yeah, I went to a local, I won't mention their name, but I went to a local Labour representative, and I asked them if I could ask them some questions and post it on my channel, or even invite them down for an interview. They did mention to me that they have to seek permission. Whereas when I approached you, you were quite candid and you said, yes, that's fine, let's go for it. So this next question, this is something that I've been contemplating for quite some time now. So why do you think, do you think there's a risk that independents taking votes away from Labour could open the door for right-wing parties like Reform UK or the Conservative Party to gain ground?
What we need to understand is that the people that vote for Labour, if they don't vote for Labour, which en masse they are not going to be voting for Labour in these up-and-coming local elections, doesn't mean that they're going to vote for Reform. Yep, it means that they're going to vote for another party or an independent. And from the way things are looking, they are going to be voting for independence. If we go by the people that I've been speaking to out on the streets, talking to people, they're all behind the independents. Because one thing that the independents have done, and we have to give credit where credit is due. People like Shakil Afzal and Ahmed Yaqub and the ICA, what they've done is, through their constantly talking about independent candidates, they've opened the eyes of the people. Oh, okay, so there's an alternative to all of this, whereas people didn't know that. And this is what we've been saying for a long time. We have to educate our people. And one of the things that I have been doing and I will be doing as a councillor is around educating. The only way that we're going to change our situation is by educating the people about how to do things and why things can be done in this way and not in that way. But going back to your point about will it allow reform to come in through the back door, I believe no, it won't. Especially in areas like Sparkhill and Allen Rock and Borsell Heath and Sparkbrook and whatever. No, it won't, because those traditional Labour voters who are disillusioned will vote for an independent candidate or for another party member, but they definitely won't vote for reform. So there's no chance of reform getting into the back door because people are not voting for Labour. In other areas, where, outside of these sort of areas where reform have been campaigning quite strong, yes, there may be a possibility that because people are disillusioned with Labour, they may, if there's not a credible, strong candidate there, especially as an independent candidate, they could potentially go over there. But I find that highly unlikely, because the two things, a Labour voter, their mentality does not align with a reform policies, because a Labour voter has been fighting against that kind of bigotry and racism and Islamophobia all their lives. So I don't understand why they would want to then abandon all of their socialist kind of tendencies and go and vote for an extreme right-wing party.
I feel these elections it's even more paramount that people come out to their homes and go to the ballot offices and cast their vote, because, as you mentioned, it may be highly unlikely that those Labour supporters around in your constituency, Sparkhill, Hall Green and Sparkbrook, vote for any other parties other than the independent parties. But places like Solihull, Northfield, Kitts Green, places like that, I do feel as though that everybody needs to go out and cast their votes, because there is a chance right, that if they're not voting Labour, they could either jump ship and go to a right-wing party, or by not voting, they could allow reform to gain a stronghold in those areas?
Yeah, look, I mean, yes, it is quite possible in those areas. We can't be naive about this, and we can't be too gung-ho about it. It is possible. But some things are inevitable. Reform have been very robust in the way that they've been, targeting their campaigns. They're using very, very emotive issues that are very high on people's agendas. But what they're doing is that they're deceiving the people, because the issues that they're focusing on, deprivation, lack of housing, lack of opportunities, focusing on immigration and migrants. These are all scapegoating. By targeting the Muslim community, which seems to be the flavor of the month, the more vociferous you are against the Muslims, the more apparently votes you're going to get. So even amongst the Labour Party, if you look at the top of the Labour Party, I mean, look at Shabana Mahmood, who's supposed to be from our area. I mean, look at how she's pandering to the right. She wanted to ban. She said that banning the Al-Quds March, which has been going on for years and years. Why? The changes to the immigration laws, changes to things like people who are staying for indefinite leave, that instead of 5 years now, you have to wait 10 years, changing the goalposts, all of these things. Who does that directly affect? It affects the community that apparently voted her in. But once she got into power, she doesn't care, because power is a very, very deadly drug that once you get into that position, you seem to lose all your morals and principles. How anybody can vote who has a conscience for these people, you're seeing the result of that now. It's not like me, I'm making it up. You speak to anybody out there and ask them what they feel about Labour and about the Labour MPs and the Labour councillors. It's unanimous in what they're saying. Yeah, you're going to get some. And look, let me make this very clear to you and to people watching this. I've always said I'm running a clean campaign. Yeah, I'm not doing no mudslinging. Okay, yeah, I've mentioned a couple of people, but that's because they are, what their views are out in the public. Yeah, but I'm not putting any kind of personal attack onto these people. What I'm saying is on their policies. Now, there are councillors in Birmingham who, as individuals, are very nice people. They're good people, and they have done some good. I'm not trying to say that they're all bad and they're all... No, they have done some good. And I'm sure that in their heart, they are genuinely good people. The problem is that it's not enough. And two, you are part of this process. You are part of these political parties who are holding you back. There are some people, I won't mention any names, who are standing in Sparkhill with some of these parties. Yeah. I spoke to them on the phone. I know these people personally. They know me personally for decades. And I said to one of them, I said, look, brother, if you step down from this party that you're standing with, and you stand as an independent, I will withdraw myself and I will support you. Because I didn't want to do this in the first place. You know what I mean? I never had any ambition to become into politics, and I still don't want to do it. It's just that, I've slightly been forced, but, the situation demands that I have to stand up. Because I've always been somebody who fights and stands up for injustice and for the weak and the oppressed. So as a duty, I had to. But if there's somebody better than me, more capable than me, come forward, I'll back off. My family's already cussing me. What the hell are you doing getting into these dirty politics? So it's not like, I need this this councillorship to be, to get any benefit. I'm not going to get any benefit out of it. To the contrary, it's a burden on my shoulders, because I follow the principle that I learned, the Islamic principle, that when you have any kind of position of power, you are a servant of the community. I would become a servant of the community. My private life is over. If an auntie on the road when I'm walking stops me and says, "Oh, you're the councillor here," and she starts telling me about X, Y, and Z, and she holds me there for an hour, and I'm going to a meeting, I've got to listen to her. I can't say, "Auntie, look, I'm busy. Yeah, I've got to go meet some people and whatever. Yeah, I'll talk to you some other time." I can't do that. I have to stand there for an hour and listen to her, because as a Muslim, this is how, we can't just because somebody's weak, you don't just push them to the side and you only talk to the strong people. So this is a big burden. And on the day of judgment, I'm going to have to answer for all of this. So it's a huge burden on my shoulders. I'm not just looking at it like I'm going to be going around and cutting ribbons and being invited to people's nikahs. That's got nothing to do with being a councillor. A councillor is a servant of the community, and he serves the community, he serves the people, and he's only answerable to the community that voted for him. He's not answerable to a political party.
Thank you. My next question would be, what are you doing to make sure your campaign doesn't just become a protest vote against Labour or any other party, but actually leads to long-term change for the community?
So what I can say in that regard is that myself and the other candidates that I'm supporting, people like Bilal Al-Arabi, Adam Mirza in Sparkbrook, Rihanna Abbas in Sparkbrook and Bossel Heath, that and the few others that are also within the sort of ICA umbrella, we actually have a manifesto, we have a plan. We're not just one individual. This is not just me. People might just see me and think he's just Shahid Butt on his own. It's not. There's a whole team behind me of very, very educated, competent, politically savvy people who are also part of this whole process. We are not just gonna, it's not that I'm just gonna get voted in and then that's it, I'm gonna sit back. We have a whole strategy. Yeah. Now, I'm not naive to think that in 4 years, I'm gonna be able to reverse or change 14 years of degradation and rot and mismanagement that's taking place. That would be silly to think that we can do that. But what I can do in those 4 years, in collaboration with the other independent candidates, and if there are other candidates who are from any other party, and if they are civilized enough and if they are pragmatic enough, I'm more than happy to work with them if it's for the betterment of the community and the area. I'm not going to put my rivalry with them or my hatred for them. Well, maybe hatred is a strong word, but my, whatever issues that I have with them, I'm not going to put that in between the fact that, well, while we're bickering and fighting and just trying to score little cheap points off each other, our community is suffering. It's okay. So even if that's a Labour councillor or a Lib Dem councillor or a Green councillor, if what we're proposing or what they're proposing is beneficial to my ward, I will work alongside them. I'll put my differences aside for the greater good. So we have a plan, we have a manifesto, we have a agenda, we have a strategy, we have everything in place. And inshallah, closer to the time, we will be releasing I'll be releasing my manifesto and the others will be releasing that as well. What are the things that we're going to do? Yeah, in the first 3 months of getting into office, what do we plan to do? And I'll tell you now, one of the first things that I want to do if I get elected is I want to, once I'm elected officially, is actually have a meeting with the constituents, hold a big meeting. Everybody come down who wants to come down and put your points forward. Yeah, let's get it on the record that we sat with our councillor and these are the issues that we have. This is whether it's to whatever it is, as minor as it is, it doesn't matter. Get it off your chest. My team will be there. We'll be recording, writing down all these points, taking down your details. Now, I'm not saying that I'm going to deal with every single thing because it's not humanly possible. But some of the stuff will be like everybody's talking about the same thing. So we'll work together. And also the reason why I want to do that is because I want to be visible. I want to be accessible. Yeah, my number's going to be out there. My telephone number's there. My email's there. I live and work and walk around Sparkhill. Yeah. I go shopping there. I'm always out and about and I'll be available anytime. I will be visible. Yeah. And there's no issue. You can come up to me. You can ask me questions, keeping it respectful and civilized. Yeah. Not a problem. So it's about building trust. And I think that generally speaking, councillors, politicians have lost the trust of the people. I want to build that trust back by being visible and by being available to the people. I want to build that trust back. And if I'm elected, I'm going to spend those 4 years in building trust within my community and showing action and getting things done. I'm a solutions guy. I'm not a moaner or a whinger. All my life, I've been about solutions and I have the solutions. I just need the support of my community.
Thank you. You mentioned that you're a businessman and you have your hands in, various other pies and you have a good income. How much does a councillor get paid and how much of that wage are you going to be dependent on when you are serving your community?
I think it's about £19,700 a year, just under 20 grand. I did read somewhere that councillors were supposed to get a 14% pay rise, but that's been put on hold because of the fact that there's no money in the council. So the point is this: for me, I'm 61 years old. I've been living for 61 years without a wage from the council without that money, and if I live long enough, I can live for another 60 years without that 20 grand. So for me, that salary is not really something that I need to live on. Yeah, all it is just reimbursing me for my time that I'm spending in doing this work. Contrary to other, obviously the system here is that if you do this kind of work, then you should be compensated accordingly for that time. So I can still hold a job, I can still do my business as long as I'm giving ample time to the work that I need to be doing as a councillor.
Okay, thank you. So moving on then, I've only got two more questions. Two more questions left for you. So what are your top strategies to tackle key local issues then, like litter, drugs, violence, hate crime, unemployment, and just general lack of opportunities?
So a councillor's role is to work with other official bodies and organisations. So my role will be I will need to work with the police, schools, NHS, and other official bodies and non-official bodies within the area. Because without a team strategy and a consensus, we can't deal with any of these issues. Yeah. So let's take one of them. Let's take antisocial behaviour. Now, antisocial behaviour can't be tackled by me alone. Yeah. We have to get the police involved. We have to get the environmental agencies involved, and and any other agencies that are working within that sector. And for the first few months, I'll be quite honest with you, I'm going to go in to all of these different agencies, all these different organizations, all these different departments with a very humble and very conciliatory tone. I'm not going to go in there all guns blazing and why haven't you done this and why haven't you? No, because that's the wrong way to go about it. I want to understand what the hurdles are, what the bottlenecks are. Why have you not been able to deal with antisocial behavior? Why have you not been able to deal with the fly tipping? Why have you not been able to deal with illegal parking? What are the reasons behind that? So I want to understand, because I want to give everybody the benefit of the doubt. Once I understand, then we're going to analyze that. And then we're going to see, right, okay, well, we can help you with this, or we can help you with that. Yeah, it's about working as a team. I can't solve all the problems on my own. Yeah, it's like with the rubbish. Do you want me to go around with a litter picker and a black bag and pick up all the rubbish? Okay, I'll do that. But will I be able to clear all the rubbish? No, I won't. Why? Because I'll pick up the rubbish today. Tomorrow, you're going to throw the rubbish there again. So what's the issue here? The issue is not me picking up the rubbish. The issue is educating the people. Throwing rubbish on the street is wrong. And if we don't first change the mindset of the people, if we don't get rid of the rubbish that's in the head, we can't get rid of the rubbish that's on the streets. And the clip's gone quite viral, where I've said that no councillor, why is a councillor picking up litter? And obviously, a lot of people have understood the broader context of what I'm trying to say, but some are like, what's wrong with picking up litter? That shows humbleness and whatever. And somebody actually put a message, wrote something on bottom of one of the posts that I've seen Shahid Butt picking up litter. What's he on about? I'm like, guys, first of all, I'm not a councillor. Yeah. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't be picking up litter. Picking up litter, is good. It's good for the community to come together and, we want to keep our area clean and whatever. My broader point was, as a councillor, I have access to all the apparatus within the council, all the departments, the refuge, the environment, the cleaning, the street sweeping, the vans, the trucks, everything is there. What I should be doing is utilising all of that, bringing all of that to bear into Sparkhill to get things cleaned up. And then, I'll take photographs. I'll make a video. I'm here with the council cleaners, and we're basically cleaning up this area. That's okay for a photo shoot. Yeah, you can do that. And I might even put on one of those, those what do you call those vests? Yeah, and I'll muck in with them. That's fine. But I'm utilizing the resources that we pay for in our council tax to get the job done. But if I'm asking the local mosque and the local people and the youngsters to come and clean up, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. But then surely as a councillor, I should be using the resources that we have within the council. That's my job, to utilize those resources. So these are the kind of, all of these things, even things around, the illegal parking and the double parking. It's a nightmare, which I have to suffer every time. If I'm going somewhere, I have to drive around the block about 3 times to find a decent place to park. Now, the solutions are there's simple solutions to this. Yeah, but it's just that we have to change the mentality and educate the people to be a little bit more accommodating, be a bit more calmer about things, just be a bit more human, it's okay. It doesn't matter. If it takes you a minute or two to get there a bit longer, it's okay. It's not the end of the world, But there's an immense amount of issues that need to be dealt with, and a lot of them can be dealt with through education, by leading by example. Now the spotlight's going to be on me. Anyhow, I park my car in the wrong place, bang, straight away. Shahid Butt, the councillor, gives it the big talk, and look how he parked his car. Shahid Butt's a human being. What I'm saying is that I'm not going to be out there judging people and making people look bad. I'm here that I'm just like you. And I've said it before, I'm not perfect. I have lots of faults. There's things that I've done in the past which I regret. You've all heard about them. Everything's out in the public domain. The point is that's one of the things that attracts people to me, is because they see me as a real person. I'm not fake. What you see is what you get. There's no script here. I'm not reading from a teleprompter. I'm speaking from my heart because I truly believe in this. I believe that Birmingham and Sparkhill and Birmingham in general, this is a city that can be great. And this is not just me, making, kinds of, wild claims. We are not a poor city. When people say to me that, there's poverty in the inner cities. Have you ever seen Sparkhill, Alam Rock on a Saturday afternoon? Ram-packed. Restaurants are packed. Shops are packed. Who said that there's no money? These places are booming. Yes, I know that people are struggling, but, and we're going to help them. But generally speaking, Birmingham is booming. There's plenty of business and there's plenty. It's just that certain segments of our society are trying to paint Birmingham as a third world, especially from the far right, because they want to use that as a pretext. Now, what's the headline going to be? The Islamists have taken over the council. If I get elected and the other guys get elected, they're going to go, you see, Sharia's creeping in through the back door. Wait for that. I'm giving you a preview of what the headlines are going to be. Islamists have, convicted terrorists has got into the parliament. This guy who had a fraud case against him, this is the kind of nonsense and scaremongering that goes on. People said to me, in some interviews that, are you going to, so is this a backdoor way of Sharia law getting into the... I'm like, what are you talking about? This is Britain. I abide by British law. When I go into the house, when I go into the council house, I'm going to be abiding by British English law. What's Sharia law got to do with it? This is not Saudi Arabia. This is not Pakistan. This is England. And we have to go by English law. So, there's a lot of misunderstanding, out there. But what I will say to people is that a vote for independence is a vote for change and is a vote for the prosperity and the change that we've all been seeking. Give the independents a chance. They will make a change. We are not just one person. It's not just me standing as an independent. Believe me, there's a whole team behind us, of very competent and educated people, and we are going to bring that change.
You've said you're passionate about youth. What specific steps will you take to create real opportunities for young people, especially those struggling with the lack of experience or access to resources?
Very good question. And those that know me know that for decades, my mantra has been the next generation, the next generation, the next. We have to empower them, we have to educate them, we have to mentor them, and we have to get them involved in the system. We have to get them involved in the decision-making bodies. And one of the things that I've done is, and I'm very proud to say, that some of the local, the independent councils that are standing, like Bilal Arabi, who's standing with me in Sparkhill, Adam Mirza, and Rian Abbas. These are young men in their 20s, 24, 25. All three of them are running successful businesses. One of them is a solicitor. The other two are running very good businesses, and they have come into this. And alhamdulillah, I'm happy to say that I have been, very internally involved with them, and I've been supporting them, speaking to them, because sometimes they'll call me and they'll feel a little bit despondent, and what do I do, and are people gonna this, and I'm like, bro, you got this. Don't worry, because they're young, and this is where the elders have to step in. Our job is to support, help, and mentor the next generation, because they don't have the benefit of our wisdom. They don't have the benefit of our knowledge. So it's not about me being an arrogant old guy that, oh, you youngsters don't know anything. No, I have to work with them. And if I have it my way, I would not even stand. I would get somebody younger than me to stand, because that's what's important. So for me, the education and the empowerment of the youth is imperative. And I say this to the older generation that's watching this. You spent your whole life building a life here. You built businesses. You've got 10 houses. You've got houses everywhere. You've done really well, mashallah. Yeah, you built businesses, everything. But when you die, is the next generation going to take over that, or are they going to go in the opposite direction? So then, what was the point of all that hard blood, sweat and tears that you've put in, working in the factories, working in chicken shops, working as a taxi driver, and you built this fantastic life? But if the next generation don't want to be a part of it, then what was the point?
I mean, that sounds, all good and well, but I'm asking about, practical stuff now. Like you said, you're going to create further opportunities for the youth. I want to know how you're going to do that. It's all good, you're saying that you're supporting these guys now who are in their 20s, but they're doing stuff that obviously assists in what you're doing. I'm talking about just the general people now. What type of resources or what type of opportunities are you hoping to create for them?
So as I said, as a counsellor, I have access to lots of different organisations, different bodies. So I'm going to be looking at what funding is available for the youth. What funding is available to help, even simple things like job fairs. When's the last time you saw a job fair in Sparkhill? I can't remember one. What about apprenticeships? What about speaking with businesses and saying, why don't you employ these guys? Why don't you give them some training? Different organizations, educational facilities. So if we ask the young people, why you're not able to get certain kinds of jobs, is it because you don't have the right qualifications? Okay, let's look at that. Let's speak to educational facilities and say, right, here's a list of these youngsters. These are the issues that they're facing. They need upgrading in their skill sets. Yeah, how can you help? And if you can't help, why can't you help? What's stopping you from helping? Is it funding? Okay, let's look at the funding. Is it because you don't want to? Well, why don't you? If you've been given funding to do this work, why are you not doing it? So it's holding them to account as well. Yeah. Bringing in prosperity into the area will help to build and give opportunities to young people as well. So why are businesses investing in Birmingham? If they're not, why not? And if they are investing, where are they investing? So who's investing in Sparkhill? Who's investing in Alum Rock? Who's investing in Aston? Who's investing in Small Heath? And if they're not investing, then we need to bring that investment in, because that then brings prosperity as well.
Thank you very much.